Old and busted. Huh. Newest hottest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Keylo, Mr.Rockoff Johnson here with another video. Real quick, let's go ahead and push our problems to the side and just have some fun, because this is a video I've been needing to make for over, honestly, this has probably been about like 3 months in the making, kinda. You'll hear what I mean in a second. But it was very much worth it, and you guys are gonna see what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and get started in the video. But before we keep the ball rolling, as you can see, I'm wearing one of the more newer colors of the LTMR shirts. Make sure you guys check out the merch. We have plenty of new stuff: bucket hats, water bottles, all kinds of stuff. If you don't really, know about what I usually film on this channel, if you're new to it from like this reptile video, Patreon is actually getting this video like way ahead of everybody else. So make sure you follow me on Patreon too. All of these links are all down in the description. But we do a lot of car content. LTMR stands for Let's Talk More Race. But Let's Talk More Race stands for more than just actually racing cars. It's your own personal race in life. Less talking and more doing. But yeah, that's something, of course, for a whole nother video. I just had to throw that out there. But a lot of you forget that I sing and that I have a huge obsession with reptiles, especially like snakes and gators and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you're new to this, or if you, like I said, you don't remember, I have a pinstripe het pie ball python named Orochi. He is named after Orochimaru, as in like the guy from Naruto / Japanese mythology and all that kind of stuff, because I'm nerdy and I'm into stuff like that. Started off in this Aquinian 20-gallon tank. It's just here. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with it. Obviously his tank did not look like this. You can just check out some of the older videos and playlists on the channel, but of how it used to look. But this is what it looks like right now, and I'm still currently trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with it. So yeah, but that's that. And now he's in this 36 by 18 by 16 excuse me, 36 being across this way, 18 being across this way, and 16 being up and down like that. But this is a Tetrafuna tank, and of course in this video, not only am I going to show you guys how I set this up and everything that came with it, but I'm also going to give you guys, of course, the update on Orochi and how big he is now. Spoiler alert, he's definitely a little over 3 feet now. Oh, and this tank is also bioactive now, so I'll be talking about all that stuff in this video. More so talking about the tank setup, but yeah. Fun fact, that's a subterranean layer. Pretty much how this started, a little bit ago, I needed, to upgrade the tank just because Orochi was getting bigger and everything like that, and I personally like my animals to thrive and not just survive, you understand what I'm saying? So I needed to upgrade his tank, and I wanted something very specific. I wanted a front opening tank, because the Aquinian tank has like it's just the top open, because it's really a fish tank and with just a lid on it. And I got tired of that, and like he would kind of like, I could tell he was seeing me as almost like a threat, just like a predator, like coming from above to like pick him up and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like he would exhibit way better, behaviors if there was a front opening tank. That way I don't look like a predator when I'm coming from above and all that kind of stuff, which he actually did, which I'm going to be, of course, putting up all kinds of clips and videos in here. But that was step one, and I knew that I wanted that. And the thing is, finding a tank, especially one that's in my budget, right? So we ended up, me and my biological mother, she's actually building a turtle tank. I mean, it's done now at the time we filmed it, but she was actually building a turtle tank at the time. And we went to a reptile expo to see if they had any Western or Midland painted turtles, which is the turtle that she wanted. And while we were there, we found this company called Tetrafuna. It's their deluxe reptile habit. I really want it because it has a lock and it's a sliding door and everything, because I don't want a top opening. Of aquarium anymore for my snake. This is my ball python. If you're new, this is my ball python, Orochi. Yes, he's named after Orochimaru. Snake in there. I've got, you know, nerdy anime. Yeah, y'all see it. But that's his tank. Yeah, we're gonna be taking that apart. But first things first, I need to take this apart. But as you can see, it is a 36x18x16. And yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and start getting the cardboard off and everything. I just got one of the pieces of glass out. But basically you slide it to the middle, lift up, then out, and it comes out. Alright, so you gotta put your own handle on. Say hi. That's my brother, y'all.
What's up? Y'all follow me on YouTube, CJ Bands.
Yeah, shit sounds like a real creative.
Right, man. Got some new videos coming out, new albums coming out. Drippin' Sauce 3. Go ahead and pre-order that, Jiffy.
Yeah.
Feel me? First 5 people to pre-order, send them $100 each.
You should say it to the actual camera instead of like it being your belly.
First 5 people to pre-order, I'm sending them $100 each, as long as you can prove you was the first. I'm getting money over here.
Jesus. Still just smack me in the head. Got you. I'm a okay. That was a good one. Look at that. You can see the clear difference now. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be cool. Oh, I'm getting eager. Okay. Kinda want that too. Yeah, that's good though. Alright.
Proud of me, yeah. Can't turn around.
All right, and like I, just showed you and explained with that, we of course have the tank and everything. I had a, I think it's either a Zoom mat or a Zilla, really doesn't matter. But either way, I had a heat mat that was for a 40-gallon tank. I put that on the left side of the tank because the right side actually had a drain, because that tank is specifically like low-key made up to be like, like a semi-aquatic like setup, so you can have water on one side, so it had like a drainage and all that kind of stuff. Obviously not using that because I don't need it, but either way, it's it's there if I ever want to repurpose that tank for that. But of course, as of right now, it's being used for the ball python. And yeah, and we basically just started to set it up. The media that I'm using inside of it, that you guys, if you're not seeing now, you're going to be seeing in a second. It's just regular Eco Earth mixed in with like cocoa, like like Repta chip or Repta bark. Really, it's just like small pieces of wood, and I just mixed it all together just to give it a different kind of substrate than like the regular just straight up Eco Earth or coconut fiber that's just in there. It doesn't have to be Eco Earth. It doesn't even have to be a name brand thing. It was just what was readily available for me at the time for fairly cheap. But yeah, so that's what's used for the media. And so far as like how the tank was initially set up, I basically just took everything that was in the 20-gallon and I just put it all in that tank. But like I said, he was getting bigger, right? This is actually one of the pieces that used to be in there. and I left it in there for all of like maybe a week because I had noticed that, see that? This is starting to get small. I mean, now I'm pretty sure he can't fit in that. You probably can't even tell really how small that hole is on camera, but that hole was starting to get really small, so I had to take this out and everything. So that's word to the wise. If you have a reptile, or any pet for that matter, make sure that they can actually fit inside. Like if there's a hole, that they can actually fit inside that. Because if they can't, they can get stuck, and they almost will get stuck. Because I mean, I've seen it happen like on videos on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. Thank God I don't know anybody personally that has happened to, but that's always something to look out for. But yeah, anyway, so the tank was set up fairly basic at first. Again, I just threw that stuff in there, and everything was level, right? So then, like I said, my mother was building a turtle tank, and she had this one kind of like tree stump kind of hide in it. But she kind of was a little iffy about it. She was like, I don't think the turtle's gonna fit in that. Just before she got a turtle, she like, I don't think the turtle's gonna fit in that. And I don't want them to get stuck and like drown in the water, because it was just some decoration that she just had in the tank. So she gave it to me for me to use for my snake, which was perfect because it's definitely big enough for him to fit in and everything like that. And that's pretty much how we started to get to the tank that we have today. So now that I got that out the way, I can go ahead and show you guys the tank and really give you guys tell you like everything that's going on with it. Alright, so as we come to the tank, real quick, just off rip, I like to I'm really anal when it comes to stuff like this, so I like to just put little notes and everything on my tank. So he is a pinstripe het pied. His name is of course Orochi. Over here, this was the month and year that he was born, not the exact date because I don't have the exact date. This was the exact date that I picked him up, and this is the, of course, Latin name for the ball python. They're also called royal pythons, but I can always get into that another time. But anyway, oh, and this is just a suitcase lock that I got for like $4 or $5, and I use that to, of course, lock my tank. And so far as how good is it with opening and locking, as you can see, if you try to slide it open, it's like that's almost not even a millimeter open, and it's like that on both sides. There we go, see? So it does a really good job at keeping it locked and everything. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and open this up. Slides all the way open like that. I did, like when you install this, you do have to put in a glass yourself, but it's extremely easy. Basically, you just start from the middle and you just go in. You start with the back side first, of course, but you just slide it in, up, and then it just falls right into that there. And it's the same thing with the front glass. And this is a piece you just put on, like it's got glue on it, and you just, take the little other piece off and you stick it on there, and boom. That's your first sliding door. That's your second sliding door. Now, before we get into all the decor and all that kind of stuff, let's just go back over the media. Again, it's just Reptichick and Eco Earth or Cocoa Bark or whatever you want to call it. Either way, it's just like wood chippings and coconut fiber, and that's what the media is. I do have magnolia leaves in here. That's pretty much for the isopods and springtails, because again, this is bioactive. I'll explain all that in a second. But this, let me take this off. As you can see, you just turn all this, boom, that lifts up, comes off, and it does that on both sides. But this is the piece that mother gave me, and what I decided to do, I have it sitting, as you guys can see here. Actually, let me get a flashlight. All right, here we go, just so you can see better a little bit more. As you can see, it's sitting down, fairly close to the bottom. There's only about, I'll say maybe like an inch or two of actual media here, and it's mostly like, there's a little bit of Repti chip in there, but I mostly made it like Eco Earth. I've got some leaves in there, and I made that his cold hide. It's like a nice little subterranean layer. As you can see, this is the rest of the media and how much higher it goes, and it's like a hill. You guys can really see it on the front of the enclosure. So I have it that the hot side of the enclosure is fairly low, and as it goes higher and gets to the cold side, the media eventually comes all the way up to like where the little vents are here, but it's still really low here. And I just made that, like I said, I just made that like his little subterranean layer. As you can tell, he's not in there, he's in the hot side. I already knew where he was, but yeah, he crawls in there, you know, does his thing. This is also where he likes to poop, so that's interesting. But you know, cleaning it, because I always have to like rearrange everything. And I have a couple things in there, like just some you can probably see that a little bit. That piece right there is actually a piece of cork bark, and that's mostly for like, you know, the isopods and springtails to hide under and stuff like that. There are probably some under this piece as well. That snake shed is because they eat the snake shed. I take a lot of the pieces out. He actually just shed like maybe a couple days ago. So I just left a couple pieces in there just for the isopods to eat, which they are eating it up, honestly, because that was an even bigger piece than it was before. But anyway, so this is his cold side. I am very happy with the way it turned out. He actually loves to like come out, and then he'll come over here, because of course, you know, they're cold-blooded, so that's how they thermoregulate. They thermoregulate by coming to one side of the tank, versus, well, coming to the cold side of the tank when they get too hot on the hot side. He climbs all around this piece, and this is fake, honestly. Same thing for this. This is just fake, just got it from the dollar store. But he climbs all around this. I'll often see him like stretch out from inside of here, just all the way up here. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm throwing up pictures and everything so you guys can see what I'm talking about, and I'll see him all around here. He looks amazing in this tank, and it feels so natural. But yeah, I have this brick here. This brick actually is just so, you know, oh, there's an isopod right there, see him? But this brick is actually just here so that he can, up there, he's crawling around now. So when he sheds, he got something to like just, you know, rub against, just to help get the shed off and everything. I actually don't think he used it. He's only shed once in this tank so far. I don't think he's actually used it, but you know, whatever. You know, it's just there in case he ever does want to use it. And like I said, we've just got these pieces in here just to, yep, plenty of isopods right there. And they just, you know, they do their thing, just being good tank mates and being a good cleanup crew. This is a real piece of wood. If you guys remember Jafar is a banana ball python by a friend that I used to be really close with. She actually gave me that piece of wood because she didn't want it anymore in her snake tank. So now I have it, and you know, it's of course come with the move and everything to the new tank. So that's pretty much it for the cold side. And you can probably see he can, you know, he goes all under here. He actually tunnels. I didn't even know ball pythons tunneled, but I've actually literally seen him like digging and like low-key like making like almost like a little tunnel on this side, which is really cool and interesting. So now coming over to the hot side, it's the same thing pretty much. Got the let's see how many under here. Yep, good amount. And I can actually see springtails as well. There we go. That's always great to see. Put that back down, let them go ahead and do their thing. Of course, we've got his water dish here. I like to keep this on this side It does evaporate, which is, you know, of course fine, because that's what's gonna happen. It's directly into the light. Well, pretty much getting hit by the light and everything. This is, of course, his I actually can't even remember who made this. I think it's a Zilla rock hide. Either way, I've had almost every version of it so far. This was what he started off with versus what it looks like, you know, how big it is now. So that's cool to see, you know, just seeing the growth and everything, because again, when we first got him, yep, it's by Zilla, there it is. Because again, when we first got him, he was, you know, fitting in this perfectly fine, and now, I mean, you'll see he's even starting to get pretty, you know, pretty big for this. I am gonna upgrade it soon. I don't need to upgrade it yet because he still fits in it perfectly fine. But like I said, I just like to give him a little bit more room to have him, you know, thrive than just, you know, survive. But that's pretty much what's going on with the hot side. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. I don't know if you can, I mean, when you look at the brick head on, you can see the gradient, because the brick is like right there at the part where it starts to slant up, and I do like the way it does that. And I feel like it just gives him, like, you know, a little bit more enrichment, just gives him more levels, because he can climb on this, which is lower down here, and then he can get all up here. And I don't know about the females, but so far as the research that I've done and just knowing male snakes versus female snakes that I've been around, ball pythons specifically, they do a really good job, the male snakes, at being like semi-arboreal, like almost like, well, I'm not gonna say they're like extremely semi-arboreal, but you know, they'll climb. And it's really interesting seeing him climb, because he will really, like, he really takes full advantage of, you know, the different height and everything. He climbs up on that stump, on this cold hide and everything. It's really cool. But that's, you know, that's what we got to say about the tank. I mean, it is a very cool tank. I'm very happy with it. So far as keeping in humidity, I only took it off just, you know, to obviously make the video, but I just take a hoodie. I just dropped the top, but I just take a hoodie and, you know, I put it across the top of it just to help keep humidity in there, which isn't bad. As you can see, he does fine shedding. It comes off pretty much, well, the first time he shed in here, it came off in just like 3 big pieces, and I think that was just because of the way he was rubbing against the inside of the cold hide, because that's where the shed was. It was on the inside of the cold hide, and at that point I just broke it off into pieces just so I could, like, you know, put it in all the different spots where the isopods like to hide out at. But before we talk about what it means to have a bioactive tank and the isopods and springtails, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys Orochi. I'm not gonna pick him up in this video just because he actually just ate like yesterday. By the way, I've recently, when I say recently, I mean within like the past couple months, found out about African soft fur rats, which are way more nutritious for them, and that's what they naturally eat in Africa. Ball pythons are from Africa, and of course African soft fur rats are from Africa, but that's what they naturally eat in the wild. But they are a lot more nutritious than like Norwegian or European rats, and those are the usual rats that you see people, like, you know, feed these snakes. Like one African soft fur, which is like ever so slightly bigger than, you know, an adult mouse, actually packs just as much, if not more, nutrition than a medium-sized Norwegian rat, which is really cool and really amazing, honestly, in my opinion. But that's what he eats. I'll of course throw some of those videos in here, so before I put them in here, fair warning, you're about to see a live feeding. Well, not a full live feeding, just, you know, him striking it and stuff like that. That is an African soft fur rat. That's what they eat in the wild. And Orochi is currently doing something that we call in my hood called baking his cake. Bang. Right there. Right there. Oh, that was crazy. That was crazy. But yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and take off the top of the lid so you guys can see Orochi. Ah, there he is in all his glory. So just to give you guys a good example of how big he is, there's my hand, there's him. I do walk him around my neighborhood. He does fine, the kids love him. There's a park like behind my house and they come up and always want to touch him and want to know all kinds of interesting facts about him. He's doing really good. He's still very docile. He's not bitey or anything like that. He's struck at me a couple times, but it was mostly because of me, honestly. Just not even, just being mindful of, you know, what he was doing and his attitude and everything like that. I was just doing too much. But yeah, that's Orochi. He's doing totally fine over there. Actually, he'll probably go over to the other side now that like I uncovered the top. Because, I mean, look at him. Now he's like, Dad, what are you doing? I was doing totally fine, but now you want to bother me. Alright, I tell you what, while I talk about the isopods and springtails, I'll just keep the camera on them just so, you know, you guys can watch them just in case you're curious about him. Oh my god, I love it when he sheds out. He has that beautiful gold on him. Oh, I love pinstripe ball pythons. Anyway though, isopods and springtails. So, and bioactive enclosures. So bioactive just means that basically you have living things in your tank to make it as natural as possible. Now, ball pythons are tanks, like period. It's a snake, so it's a tank, and it just goes over stuff and doesn't care when it's slithering around and everything like that. So yep, see, he's gonna go right over to the cold hide. But oh, he's so gorgeous. But anyway, so I don't actually have any like live plants in here, but with having the isopods and springtails, they are a natural cleanup crew like what you would have in the wild. And when I mean the wild, I mean even in your backyard. Isopods, most of you are gonna know as like roly-polies. That's what they call it. Oh my god, look at him. See what I mean? How he just crawls right into there. Oh, that is so cool to see. I love seeing that. And he'll pop out on the other side and everything like that. Do all kinds of stuff. Again, size comparison with my hand. That's how big he is. He is definitely a little bit over 3 feet now. And when he moved in here, he was about, I say like a little over 2.5, almost 3 feet. But anyway, oh look at your, oh look how cute he is. He's just sticking his little head out the hole for a second, just flicking his tongue. Oh, I'm getting distracted. Anyway, you have a natural cleanup crew. So roly-polies are probably, you know, your more known isopods, but that's what they are. The isopods that are in here are called powder orange isopods, or Persilio, I think it's Persilio scaber, if I'm not mistaken. That's the Latin name. I could be wrong. I'll just put up the actual name of them. But yeah, and the isopods will do stuff like they'll eat the poop, they'll eat his snake shed, and they'll do stuff like that to you know, keep the entire enclosure clean. I do need more. I only put a small culture in here. It was only about like 20 isopods. Actually, it wasn't even that. I think it was more so like 10 or 15 isopods, and they went in here. Springtails are a little bit harder to find in here just because they're smaller, but those are those little white things you'll see in the soil, just, you know, crawling around, and the next thing you know, you don't see them anymore because they're called springtails because they jump really far and really high. But they are natural in here. I do need a couple more springtails. like maybe one more culture that just like the isopods. Well, there weren't like 20 in there, but there was a lot more. But that's just what you do when it comes to springtails and isopods when it comes to a bigger tank, and I just didn't know that at the time. I thought I could just take, you know, a cup of each and just throw them in here and they'll be totally fine, and then I found out that you actually need more. I'm actually gonna start culturing some myself just so I can throw them in this tank or throw them in other tanks when I get more snakes or any other kinds of reptiles. But yeah, they are a natural cleanup crew, and like I said, I don't know if you saw it under there, and I really don't want to pick it back up just because I already, you know, messed with the isopods once today. But they do a really good job at eating all of the natural stuff in here. They do eat the leaves. That's why the magnolia leaves are actually in here. There you go. That's a good example of how it looks when they eat it. It literally looks like a cookie cut. It's so funny because they're small, but they do a great job at eating this stuff. Like, there were a lot more magnolia leaves in here, but I did put them in here before he shed it. Again, he just shed it like for the first time in this tank, because when I moved him in here, he had actually just shed it out in the old tank. So it just took him a little bit to, you know, get habituated, get situated. He did take like a week to 2 weeks to get used to his new tank, which is totally fine. He did skip like a meal or two in between there, but like I said, he is definitely eating again and he's doing great. But in the meantime, before I had snake shed in here or any snake poop or anything like that, they were just eating the magnolia leaves and eating, like, you know, they were biting, you know, and eating the cork bark. They were eating little pieces of the bark that's just in the enclosure from the repti-chip. So yeah, but that's pretty much my tank update. I do really like this tank. I just realized I put this lid on backwards by accident. Either way, it's still very much secure and locked down. This is the same light that I had on the 20-gallon tank. It still works perfectly fine. His hot side right now is reading 102. I've noticed that Orochi actually likes it a little bit hotter. It does go down from there. That's what my see, 101. Actually my heater just shut off. That's funny, but it does shut off when it hits 101. So that's when this is around 102, as you guys just saw. The heat mat is under there as well. Does keep this side fairly warm. I did wet the substrate like last night, so that's why you're seeing this condensation. It's just it sinking down into the soil and everything like that. But that's what keeps it really cool. You can see his you can't really in the camera, but that's actually his body right here. You can see it through the leaves. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna conclude it for this tank. Let me know if you guys have any questions or you want me to go in detail with anything, any aspect with this tank or with Orochi. If you want like full, you know, feeding videos and stuff like that, I will definitely put them on my Patreon, because I don't know how, like, you know, how much people would like it on my regular YouTube channel, because, you know, that deals with more car racing and everything like that. But yeah, this is, you know, owning reptiles is definitely a passion of mine. I do love snakes. I love wolves. They're actually tatted on my back, but I always wanted a snake. I finally got one. This is my first snake, and this is my baby. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna conclude it for this video. Before we end it off though, I just want to say this real quick. Make sure you support your local exotic fish or pet store. PetSmart and Petco or whatever, you know, big chain pet store that's available in your area, you know, is cool, and I guess you can go there in a pinch, because I definitely have before. But most, and when I say most, I mean like 80% of the stuff in Orochi's tank, both in the previous tank and in the tank that we have now, and that's by Tetrafuna, By the way, which I highly recommend, I love that tank, and when I do eventually upgrade the tank again, I am probably gonna get another Tetrafuna tank because they also are greatly and fairly priced. But make sure you support them because they're the ones that truly support our hobby. Me personally, I go to Wet and Pet Reptile Center out in Essex or Middle River. I think that's actually technically Middle River, Maryland. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. But yeah, I usually go there, or sometimes if they don't have a rat, or just because they're a little bit closer to me, I also go to Tom's Tropics. But yeah, make sure you support your local fish and reptile exotic pet store, because not only does it help, you know, the economy in your area with giving to a shop that isn't just a main corporate building, but they usually have more things that are geared towards the reptiles and fish that we keep, that aren't just something generic or just something that's like, hey, we can sell this and make money off of it. Because there are plenty of products out there that, you know, are advertised that are good for reptiles and are not good for reptiles. So on top of doing your research on the actual reptile that you have, also I would recommend, you know, really supporting your local pet store. By the way, elephant in the room, just because I know it's probably going to come up in the comments or something like that. Yes, I do feed Orochi live. I have been trying to switch him to frozen thawed, but he is hard-headed, kind of just like his daddy, and he hasn't switched to frozen thawed yet. He's still on live, but eventually we will get him on, you know, frozen thawed, or at least fresh killed or something like that, hopefully. If, you know, some snakes, it's just the way that they are, just like how, I don't know, I don't like watermelons, but I like strawberries. You know, it's kind of like the same thing with them. You just need to get to know your animal, get to know their personality. All animals, all living things have different personalities, different needs and wants that they personally want to have, versus like the actual needs that they have, being the species that they are. So on top of doing your research, you just, you know, just gotta watch your animal and see how they feel everything out. But yeah, I think that's it now. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Make sure you get the merch. Merch link is down in the description below. Again, huge shout out to Wet and Pet Reptile Center. So if you're in the Maryland area, make sure you check them out. Huge shout out to mi madre, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even, you know, had the chance to get that Tetrafuna 36 by 18 by 16 inch tank. I don't really want to say 40 gallon because I don't think that's technically the dimensions of a 40 gallon, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's basically a 40 gallon. And yeah, as always, guys, you stay classy, stay positive, and have a good day.